Okay, welcome to this week's episode of Live Clean, Talk Dirty.
Our first pod.
Yeah.
Ever. No, not ever.
Okay, except the pilot pod. But I thought that was really fun.
So how did you find doing a pod for the first time?
Yeah, it was tougher than it seemed because of the way that you have to talk into things and background noise. But it was fun talking to you about these things officially, not over a voice note.
Mm-hmm. And we're back in the kitchen.
Where we have all the very best conversations.
Yeah, they do. So how's your week been?
Good. We did a little bit more DIY. So cleared the back of the fence where the end of the garden is because the previous owners or whoever just kept throwing stuff to the back of the fence. So obviously the fence grabs all that moisture and it's just the wobbliest. It's not stable at all. So we need to replace that. But we need to move all that. So that's done now. So another little DIY project under the belt.
Oh, you love that.
And you?
This week, been doing a couple of runs. In the next few weeks, I've got half marathon. So I know how happy you'll be about that.
To support you.
I was actually going to invite you to...
I will come with an umbrella.
Okay.
And some snacks. Watch. I will support. I love supporting. I think it's amazing to support.
But you're not coming with me on the journey?
I mean, maybe one day.
Okay, great.
Maybe we can make that a challenge. Like midlife crisis stuff.
Yeah.
Then.
Thanks.
Or we could just go on holiday together.
So, as part of the first pod, launch pod.
Launch pod. We should have a launch party for the pod.
That can be arranged.
Okay. I'll just write that down.
Yep. And where do we begin?
I think we need to talk about the whole non-toxic versus low toxic elephant in the room, because when you look on social, it's always hashtag non-toxic or non-toxic living, or when products are sold, it's non-toxic. And I think it's really important to clear that up about the difference or what that actually means practically, because non-toxic really means not a single toxin, doesn't it? Like if you say it's non-toxic, I don't want to say
there's literally nothing.
Totally.
Yeah.
But while you're living on planet Earth, you can't be non-toxic.
No, that's quite impossible.
And I think for you and me, we're quite stringent with plans, and when we commit to something, we really commit to something, which is great. Until you get to a point where it's unachievable, because non-toxic is not strictly achievable because you're breathing the air around you and you're not living in some bubble.
No.
So non-toxic really means without toxins. And so our whole view when you and I certainly started this journey was to go low toxic. So reducing the toxins. And I think that's important for our listeners to understand as well, because non-toxic can put so much pressure on. I can't have that because it's non-toxic. I can't have that because it's non-toxic. And I think you and I, correct me if I'm wrong, agree that you have to be flexible when it comes to these things and really give yourself some space to grow into it.
100%. And I also think it's more of an education, an education journey, I would say. You're not going to be able to influence and change everything overnight. That would be impossible and extremely stressful
and expensive
and it wouldn't be sustainable.
No. Well, it's like going on a diet, isn't it?
Exactly.
Which I don't do. But if I were to go on a diet, if I had the willpower to go on a diet, then it's just like cutting out everything, and it's an unsustainable lifestyle. So people rather talk about a whole lifestyle change where you put in little differences that yield big results. I think that's the thing with this non-toxic, low toxic. If you're gonna go with non-toxic, it's not going to be sustainable.
No.
If you go with low toxic, as in what can I swap, change, do differently, implement, then we're talking sustainable, because little changes and we're going to see big results.
Yeah, and that will ultimately reduce our toxic load.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally.
So let's just come back to where we were. We're going to talk about low toxic living, and we're not focusing so much on the non-toxic, because certainly for ourselves, that's not something that we're striving for.
No.
So low toxic living is kind of around the minimizing our exposure to harmful chemicals and toxins in our environment. And that can be a huge amount of elements within that. So,
Totally.
it can come down to cleaning, food, water, plastics, personal care, air quality, diet, stress.
Oh my gosh, already you're going like, this is such a minefield.
Yeah, exactly. It's huge.
It's massive. And honestly, with people who are doing their day-to-day jobs, like all of us, who has the energy or the time to go, right, well, everything's toxic around me. Let me dive into this now. Because honestly, when you come through that door at night, or come back from the gym, or come back from work, the last thing you want to do is listen to an educational anything.
Exactly.
It's really like, want to just use the cleaning stuff that is in my cupboard, get up the next morning half asleep, putting on my makeup that I always buy, and go through the motions, because we're creatures of habit. But yeah, it can be such a minefield, like you've just spoken about. There's every element of our lives can expose us to toxins.
Yep. And I think as part of this podcast, and certainly what we should highlight on the first one, is that the journey that we're going to go on is very much our own. It's what we've experienced. It's what we've learned, and all we really want to do is share with everybody the journey that we're kind of going on, and how we can make our lives more low toxic. So this isn't about slating. This isn't about saying this company's shit or this company is not.
Or you're doing...
Or this product, or you're doing something wrong.
Totally.
And also we're not going to tell you what to do and what you shouldn't do and what you shouldn't buy and when you should and everything.
No, we're really here to just share our journey with you.
I mean, I know obviously Liesel loves to roll her eyes at me and judge when I tell her that, I've got a new product and it's definitely not.
I mean, thank goodness we do this over voice notes, so we don't do videos. So when we do this over voice note, she can't see the eyes rolling. It's more when we're sitting face to face like this, where she tells me stories that I have to restrain myself to. No, but it's just about making better choices when you know better. And I'm not going to say you should do better, but you can do better. You have the option to, because you're now armed with knowledge. And it is just that if you don't know what you don't know, then you can't make different choices. And then it doesn't bother you as well, because you're not aware of what is going on.
And I think just to put this into perspective, I've only been on this, I've been on the journey before February, but it wasn't as in-depth as what I'm doing now. I was trying to make small changes, buy products which I thought were sustainable and eco-friendly for the house. But then since February, I've now gone a step further and started looking more into ingredients and the impacts that they can have on me and the people in my home and even out and about, really. So I just wanted to highlight that this is all very new.
Absolutely. And it's all new for everybody at some point. And nobody starts the journey off at the expert level. Let's just talk about the running for instance, if you said I need to train for a marathon, you're going to be have more expertise in that field. I certainly wouldn't know where to start. That's why you get a running coach, for example, or how many times I have to train, or it would be grueling. And it would be such a steep learning curve with possibly a lot of sore muscle. But do I want to do it? Am I prepared to work for it? Do I want to make the changes so that I can achieve these things? Yeah, definitely. Go for it. But we're all new at some point, and we always say this to each other. We're no experts in this,
No,
but we love it and we think it's so important, and that's why we're here. So talking about non-toxic and low toxic, I think it's really important that we talk a little bit about what toxic load is.
Yeah.
Because if you've never heard these words, then toxic load is really about the amount of toxins we put into the body. So just last month, actually, the FDA put aspartame, the sweetener, onto the list of carcinogens, so cancer-causing agents. And there was this whole hype on social media, one area saying, oh, finally they've put it on that list, that it can cause cancer. And other people were going, hang on a minute, but it's in the same group as your mobile phone. And then there was this whole opposition side saying, well, then stop using your mobile phone. But I think what we're trying to highlight here with toxic load is whether you're having aspartame in your diet soda or whether you're using your phone is the same toxic exposure. And the more you use the one thing, or the more it accumulates, as in if you were drinking a diet soda and using your mobile phone, the more of a load it's going to put on your body that it then needs to work through and digest and basically get rid of again. So I don't think it's about the mobile phone being the evil thing or the aspartame being the evil thing. It's about how much of it your body is exposed to. And I think what we're trying to do here is really just make you aware of what is toxic and how can we reduce that toxic load in the body, because it gives us our body the chance to really work through all of that. And so we want to reduce that toxic load, and we can do that by making small changes, which we're going to explore in the next few episodes.
Yeah, 100%. So let's just come back to those points. Tell me how you started your first steps into a low toxic lifestyle.
I mean, from last week when we spoke about the laundry detergent and Grace's reaction to it, that's really where I started. I just swapped it out and checked whether it made a difference.
So let's go back to that. So you wanted to swap out the laundry detergent. Talk to me about that. What happened next? What did you do?
It was difficult.
Yeah.
It was just so difficult to find something that was actually low toxic.
Because obviously we're so used to going to the supermarket, picking up. I mean, I certainly love a cleaning haul. Literally love to go and buy all of the chemical brands
that are so pretty on the shelf.
That look great, and they'll look great in my shelf.
And have a nice now cardboard box because sustainability.
So what did you do?
I Googled. And the moment I Googled, you'll know when you get a rash on your skin, you put it into Google and
you're dying.
You have 3 days left.
Yeah, literally.
And that's a little bit like with this chemical journey. You put something into Google and you go, sorry, what? What's happening here? I don't understand. Oh my goodness. And your mind is blown. So it was really just, I was researching the individual ingredients in the laundry detergent that I was using because...
So was that just basically, let's say, for example, really, really basic. Let's say that there was an apple as part of the ingredient. You literally typed into Google, apple.
Yes. And then I just had a look. And then I came across a site called EWG, which is the Environmental Working Group website, which researches toxins, and it's an American-based company, and it is phenomenal.
It is.
And
it's great.
if you're listening to this, put that into Google, EWG, the Environmental Working Group. They have a separate one for Skin Deep, which looks at everything to do with your skin. And that's when I came across that, I ended up then hearing about it on a podcast that I was listening to.
And I think also you introduced that to me. And when you introduced it to me, I was then inputting all of my products in my house, thinking I've literally got to change everything. And that's what it does to you. It makes you think that you've got to change every element in your house, every item, every product, every liquid, literally everything. And then that's when it gets overwhelming. And that's not what we're trying to do. It's about that gradual change and just the reducing the toxic load in our general lives. It's not about, let's change everything now. We'd love to, but I'd be extremely poor.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's not, if you're going to talk about sustainable, then you need to take that into consideration, because there's many facets to this and it can be so overwhelming. But whether you're training for a marathon or whether you are reducing your toxic load, one step at a time.
100%.
One step at a time. I know you're going to remind me of this when we start training for this marathon that is not going to happen and is imaginary in my head. But one step at a time.
Yeah.
And when you do one thing, you're reducing. If you swap out your toothpaste, if you swap out your multi-purpose cleaner, if you swap out the shampoo that you are using or the foundation that you are putting on your skin, you are already reducing the toxic load. You're already on your way there. Your body is already going, oh my gosh, one less toxin I need to deal with and put through the body.
100%. So let's come back to you. You went on EWG.
Put into their website the things that were in the laundry detergent. I was absolutely shocked. I
shocked. Why?
Because they do a scale of EWG verified, which is what you could probably class as a 0 to 10. 10 being I'm literally poisoning your body every time you put this onto your skin.
And that's what the website does show you, percentages and levels of the impact that it's having on your body and the potential impact that could also happen in the future. So it may have a cancerous impact. It may, that could...
Or an allergy. So it classes them for that. And so on the scale of 0 to 10, I was getting 6s, 7s, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so toxic, and I'm putting this on my child and on ourselves.
Yeah.
This has to change. And then I went through because you can create your own report, because it's obviously American-based, but you can create your own report for the products that you have. So I was just copy-pasting all the ingredient lists from a shopping website from that laundry detergent into the EWG, and it would give me a roundabout number.
Mm-hmm. So what were you kind of looking at?
So I thought to myself, right, before I drive myself crazy, because I'm the type of person that will go, it's a 1, I'm not buying it because it's not verified. And that's when we talk about being sustainable in your lifestyle.
Yeah.
I then said, right, what am I prepared to? Obviously as low as possible, but what would be my highest? And I decided that a 4 would be my highest, that I would try to get everything below that. And that's what I've stuck with at the moment. And the next time I change it, I will look for something that has 3 and see if I can. But because it's such a big thing and I want to change a lot of things, I said 4 and below, and then go from there. And that's then when I just started looking, and I found a laundry detergent that was a 3. And I thought, great, I'll try this. It's quite low. It's in the green area. And Grace's skin cleared up. And then I was like, right, this has just unleashed the beast. So I'm just going to, one thing at a time now, try and change the things that were most important to me. And that's when the conversation you and I had, what is your main concern? Is your main concern endocrine, like hormones, weight loss, that type of thing? Is your main concern skin reactions? Is your main concern neurological? Where do you lie? Where would your concerns be? For me, it was endocrine. And so anything that was an endocrine disruptor, which we'll get onto later, is I just checked that score was the lowest. So things like makeup can be huge endocrine disruptors. And so then I know I went a bit full hog here, but I threw out all my makeup. And then
Jess did not.
No, Jess did not. Please know Jess still uses her makeup. She's trying to use it up.
That's a good point, actually. We should mention that certainly for me, yes, I'm on a journey, and yes, I'm trying to swap out products, but I don't have an endless pot of money, so I'm using what I've got, and then when I'm ready to replace, I will be replacing with something that is better and lower in toxins. It's not about me removing absolutely everything and putting it all in the bin, because as I said, that isn't sustainable or affordable. It's about making the small gradual changes over a period of time, which will probably never stop. And coming back to the EWG website, it's really great because it gives you products all the way across the range from the EWG verified all the way up to 10. So it shows all the products that you can buy. It is quite a scary website when you start to look into these things, but it's making me more conscious of what I am picking up off the shelves.
But I think as well, you can either decide, do you know what? If I don't know about it, it won't hurt me. Like if I don't know about it, it won't bother me. Or you can go, right, there are toxins in our makeup, so I want to use makeup. What can I choose? And what choices do I have that I can use to make better, have a less reduced toxic load on my body, to help my body do its job better, and optimize that. And I showed you my foundation that I bought, which is from Bobbi Brown. And that's what I use now. That it was a better option to what I was using before. And I'm so excited because it's actually doing a brilliant job.
Yeah, and it's fab. It's nice. Will be going in the basket
Absolutely.
As soon as I've used my current foundation.
I know, I said to you, I wish I was still due to get married, because my gift registry would look so different, so different now. If I could, being on this journey, rather than going, I need that plastic spatula, you can now do stainless steel. You'd make completely different choices, I think, in terms of a gift registry, but more on that to come.
I think let's come back to, because I'm enjoying that journey that you're on with the laundry detergent. So you've looked at the products, you've found one that's cheaper. Not cheaper, lower on the scale.
Yeah.
You've implemented it into your cleaning product range. And obviously it had a great benefit for Grace because the rash disappeared. So what was next?
Next, I decided, what is the thing I use the most? Because obviously the more you use it, the more you're exposed to whatever is in it. So I then decided what was the thing that I used most. And literally what I did is make an inventory of my house. I went with a piece of paper and I did an inventory of all the products that were used. So I started in the bathroom and then did all the toiletries, toothpaste, shaving foam. Shaving foam is scary, man. Body wash, shampoo, conditioner, face wash, cleanser, toner, all these things. Then I moved on to makeup and I just took an inventory. It took me about 3 days of everything that I use, and then decided, what do I use the most? What is the most? And then I checked their toxicity level and decided, right, this has the highest toxicity level, needs to go.
Yeah.
And what can I replace it with? And then I did step by step, month by month. Every month I ordered something new. So this accounts for why at the moment I only have a mascara and foundation. as literally the only 2 makeup products that I currently have.
So with the let's go back to that little mascara story. What did you do?
So
What did you do?
I threw out all my makeup, and then we were on a trip in Ireland with my parents, and I went into TK Maxx. And have you ever heard of the Honest Company beauty products, which was, I think, Jessica Alba made that company when she got her first child, because she was like, oh my goodness, everything's toxic. And I went into TK Maxx with my mom, and there in the clearance bin was, I don't even know how many, like 10, 12, 15 Honest Company mascara and lip balm. And I just put every single one of them in the shopping basket. And I was just so excited. And I walked out of that shop, I didn't need a bag, clutching.
Keep them to my heart.
Yeah. And I grabbed all of them. So you have one now, because, what am I going to do with before? I'm sorted for the next 2 years on mascara. But I was so excited because TK Maxx had a non-toxic EWG verified mascara.
Yeah.
And the prices at TK Maxx are incredible. So I just bought all of it because I was so excited, because it's so difficult. It's so difficult finding something that's non-toxic. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you've exposed me on pod with friends like these. So that's then, just one step at a time. I'm still on it. My house is not completely low tox. I'm still swapping out products every month when something finishes, when it's a new month. And I will say this month, I really need to replace the body wash. Last month, you and I replaced our shampoo.
Yeah.
And there's options out there. And that's the great thing to know. And the great thing that we want to just share, that there are options and they are available at supermarkets, and we are hunting for them everywhere.
It's just that, again, that education piece. So, when I've used an app called MyFitnessPal, and you put all your food into this.
Okay.
So you scan your food and you weigh your food, and this might be when you're trying to do a calorie deficit.
Okay.
So you're trying to lose some weight.
Right.
I seem to be always on this journey.
We need to get to that destination.
I like food too much. And when you start inputting all these items into this app, you start to realize what's good and what's bad, and what you think is good is actually not. And it's that piece where you are learning as you go. It's that education. It's not something that happens overnight. And that's really what's in my mind around this. I'm learning. I'm looking at every product as we go. So now I'll be able to say, coming back to the food app, naturally, no, I'm going to have 20 grams of that and not 50.
That's such a great example. It's exactly that.
Because it might be, I don't know, let's say a handful of nuts. And actually, there's 20 grams we might think is not that bad, but actually it is. And you realise that the ingredients within that food and how it can have an impact on the body. And it's very similar to what we're talking about now around low toxins.
Absolutely. And I think that's the message we want to leave our listeners with today is it is a huge journey, and it can be very overwhelming when you start deep diving into this. But we are going to walk this journey with you. We are so glad that you are here, and we are going to make small changes step by step, 1 week at a time, one day at a time, one product at a time, that is going to bring us amazing results and help you feel better in the beautiful body that you have been given.
So every week we've decided that as part of our pod, we're going to set a challenge, and we're also going to have a dirty word of the week.
So, dirty word of the week for this week is detox. So, we will talk more about detox and what that means next week. And my challenge to you this week, Jess, is to find one product in your house that you use the most that has the highest toxin rating. And we'll discuss that next week. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.